Hi again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of RV Business Capital Talk, sponsored by Eric Sell. From RV Business, I'm Rick Kessler, and he is Sherman Goldenberg. And joining the two of us today, we have Karl Wilson. Karl is the Director of RV Business at Cummins. Karl, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you all for having me. Appreciate it.
Welcome.
Karl, Cummins, obviously everybody knows, is a huge corporation, and the RV business is a smaller part of it. But before we talk about the RV specific questions and topics, how about just an update on Cummins in general?
Yeah, so Cummins is of course traditionally diesel engine manufacturing. That's what started the whole game way back when, and still is a significant part. But as the world evolves and we go into alternative fuel technologies, Cummins is also becoming a leader in developing of hydrogen, of electrified power, all the different ways that we're going to need to have power, both in terms of mechanical and electrical power, moving into the coming years. As Cummins develops engines and fueling technology, that of course will be adopted to power generation, eventually waking itself into RV applications like we have today as well.
That'll be interesting. It's everyone sees it coming down the pike. We just don't know how quickly.
Don't know how quickly. There's a lot of different technologies that's being pushed right now by a lot of different people, and I said Cummins is right on the forefront of all of those for sure.
Well, let's transit this conversation to this specific market which we're addressing. What is Cummins' role in the recreation vehicle business historically and today?
Yeah. So historically, of course, Cummins has provided diesel engines for RVs as long as there's been diesel engined RVs, going back, to the early 60s even, with it as well. From my standpoint, RV generators is our business, and we've been providing RV generators, again, going back to the early 70s, really as a tailored business. But even before that, people were taking generators and putting them into recreational vehicles as well. So we produced over 2.5 million gensets so far, going just into RV type of applications. And as a matter of fact, sometime in 2026, we will produce our 3 millionth RV generator as well that we've delivered to the industry. So that is where Cummins has made its mainstay in the RV business, is with the drive engine and then with the power generation, the generator inside of it as well.
That's we were talking before we hit the record button, and Karl was telling us, I was making a joke about Richard Kuhn being there for the first one, and he says, well, as a matter of fact, yes, he was.
Yeah, he was, and I was there as well. We did the 1 millionth at our Huntsville, Alabama plant, and 2nd million one was done in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and that's where the 3rd million one will be done as well, right there in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where they manufacture the generators at.
Too. Very good. Mm-hmm. Sherman, you were going to ask something?
But the headquarters today of Cummins is where?
Columbus, Indiana is where Cummins Inc. headquarters is at. The Cummins Power Generation headquarters is in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Okay. So Cummins, of course, has a lot of different divisions. So depending on where divisions are at, but the overall headquarters for Cummins Inc. is Columbus, Indiana.
Okay. Karl, one of the things you mentioned too was serial number 1 of those generators is part of a pretty cool display. Can you talk a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, so we created a few years back when Cummins celebrated 100 years in power generation, what we called a museum trailer. And it's a trailer that we pulled around to various events, right? It was at some of the shows and some of the dealers with that as well. And it has a full-up history of Onan. And Onan produced generators back into the 1929. It was what they called a 10 light. It would power 10 light bulbs in a house. You'd buy a string of light bulbs, you'd buy this generator, and you could have lights inside your house as well. Serial number 001, the very first generator that Onan ever produced at their plant in Minneapolis, Minnesota, is on this trailer as well. So it's on the trailer as well as the evolution of RV generators.
We're here today at the Hershey RV show in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and I'm standing in front of one of our historical displays. This is what we call our Onan 10 light generator. Back in 1926, D.W. Onan founded the company, building a generator that he could power at his cabin. quickly translated that into a business where he would sell a generator to somebody in a home who could then run lights inside their house. Now, houses weren't wired for lights, so we'd also have to sell them a string of lights. Just so happened this generator would power 10 of those light bulbs, hence the name 10 Light came out as well. This is actually not just a 10 light generator. This is the very first one, serial number 001 of the Onan manufacturing plant in Royston up in Minneapolis, Minnesota as well. So we're going to try and start it out and show you just what a 1926 generator can do.
Very quickly, we evolved into the fact that you needed to tailor build a generator for an RV, not just, something that you're going to use in a hunting cabin or, out in the woods. This needed to be something that would work inside an RV. The shape had to be right. And very importantly, what came along was the sound. People were sleeping on top of these generators, so they needed to be very quiet and very smooth. So that evolution of generators, you'll see them going all the way back from the early 70s all the way up to the late 2000s is in that trailer. Like I said, that's going to be in the Motorhome Hall of Fame starting, it'll be in there by Open House.
Well, you mentioned that too. Cummins will have that display at Open House at the end of September. Maybe this is the segue for the new family of generators that you've introduced. Care to talk about that?
Sure. So inside the museum, like I said, we're going to have our 100-year history trailer actually in the display as well. Outside there is where we'll have our new product display for that. And what's new for RV generators is fuel injection and dual fuel. So we are introducing a new line of gasoline and LPG generators for the industry that will be debuting at the Open House, actually at the Hershey show, and then later at the Open House as well. And like I said, they're all three very similar in terms of their features, just different kilowatt power. The largest one is a 7 kilowatt. The next one is a 4 kilowatt and a 2.8 kilowatt. So obviously the size drops down as the kilowatt drops down in terms of the overall envelope size, but feature-wise, they are all EFI, single fuel line, dual fuel switchable, so you can switch between gasoline or dual fuel, variable speed, PMA, inverter technology, and all of them have J1939 and advanced diagnostics capability.
All onboard generators?
All onboard generators.
Wow.
All meant to be permanently mounted inside an RV. All that pull off of the fuel tank within the RV as well. Dual fuel is not something really for the end user. They get excited, but if you think about if you own an RV, you don't kind of change the fuel types, right? You run with whatever fuel you got on board. It's more for the OEM. They can order one part number, right, from this, and just when they put it on the line, they can switch it to LP or gas. They don't have to have two different part numbers, and so it's the flexibility to the OEM. But for the end user, there is a capability that they could have an extra propane tank there going beside it, or like on a fifth wheel, they could have a gasoline tank, no run off propane and switch back to gasoline. But the primary application is the OEM. That's why they like it so much. Reduces their inventory cost.
Has Onan ever had any kind of a dual fuel generator before?
We've had dual fuel back long before EPA and CARB, really started tightening down. We did used to have some dual fuel. You used to actually even be able to buy dual fuel conversion kits, even a tri-fuel conversion kit. But with the tightening of emissions, that became less and less practical for the aftermarket and for us to do as well. But pretty much it singled in on a single fuel, going for a long period of time. But a lot of the questions coming back from the OEMs was that could we do dual fuel? Could you provide a dual fuel? And now with the EFI systems, we are able to provide a dual fuel switchable for the OEM to be able to utilize.
Okay. One of the other things that you've been doing lately, especially this year, is I guess you're calling it the Onan Unplugged Tour. How's that been going? And are you still visiting those dealerships?
Yeah, it's great. It really is probably the most energetic part of the job is a chance to take our product on the road and actually roll into the dealerships and give them a not just a piece of paper or a presentation, but we have the actual product, on the trailer and it runs and we can put it under load and we can show them how it performs, right, and what it does when you apply various loads, when you take loads off, how does it sound and all that. And it's really great connecting with the dealers and hearing their feedback, on the product and just the overall energy that we get back from the dealers about the fact that they're excited. They're excited to see this comes out because this is a big deal for them as well, having this type of product that no longer carburetors to worry about, like I said, a single product that you can switch the fuel types on, and then a full product range going all the way from a 2,800 to a 7,000 watt generator is a big deal.
Well, you mentioned dealers. I'd be remiss without publicly thanking Cummins once again for your continued sponsorship of our Top 50 Dealer Awards program, as well as our Power Breakfast. But the Dealer Awards, that's pretty special. I'm glad you guys help us put that on. It's something we all should aspire to, is recognize those dealers that do it the right way.
Absolutely. Dealers are the most important part of the business to me, right? That's where it all kind of starts and it ends with there as well. You got to have we all got to have a good dealer network, and we really appreciate any chance we can to support the channel for sure.
Thank you. Sherman?
Well, I mean, rather predictably, I would ask about the market in general and how you're viewing it at this point. It's hardly record-setting territory right now. On the other hand, we hear a consistent theme about, consistent strength that, is leading us to 2026. What are you seeing, Karl?
Yeah, a lot of cautiousness, I think, is the way to look at it, in that everybody is hoping that somebody else has the magic, vision to tell them what's going to happen a month from now or 2 months from now or 3 months from now. But what we're seeing overall is a softening of the gas market for us as well. But diesel has actually seen, some improvement in there as well. And so that's something that is encouraging, because Class A sales were down, but they are, we're seeing a little bit of a bump back, on it as well. But I think we're all in the same boat, looking to see what's going to be the trigger for people. Tariffs quieting down a little bit seems to help build back the consumer confidence. People feel a little bit better about spending, money out there on RVs, on things like that as well. So, like I said, in our market with generators, that's driven heavily by motorized. So, seeing the motorized market stabilize, and we're looking for, like I said, good things next year. But good things next year could be somewhat flat to a slight increase, compared to 2025.
Can you comment at all on other markets in which Cummins deals, and what you're seeing comparatively speaking, marine, et cetera?
Marine, other consumer markets that we play in as well. Marine is one. Marine is same thing, is pretty much flat across right now. Not a lot of consumer marine being sold. The other one is home standby business. Home standby is one of those ones that it's cyclical as well. Depends on the storms and things that are going through there as well. Depends on new home sales with that, and it's going along very, actually pretty strong as well right now. Outside of the consumer business, in terms of power generation, it's all about data centers, and data centers is what's driving power generation and a lot of things right now, that they can't build enough data centers quick enough to power all of the AI and everything else that needs to happen. So that's driving a lot of energy, a lot of technology, a lot of manufacturing to figure out how we can get power to these data centers a lot quicker right now than what we're able to.
They're
sure.
blowing up the data centers. It's unreal.
They're just blowing up. More requests coming in. It seems like just about every day. Right? So it's crazy. It's crazy.
So let's bring it back to the RV sphere. Karl, I couldn't help but be remembered or reminded of somebody, I asked somebody about the state of their market, state of the business, and asked them to pull out their crystal ball. And I think the joke was he didn't have a crystal. He doesn't use a crystal ball anymore. It's a magic 8-ball.
Yeah, yeah, it as we say, I'll tell you once the order comes in what we're going to do, right? Because the trending is getting better and forecasting is definitely improving, but it's been a wild ride, right? Yeah, for sure for all of us, and we are seeing some signs of stability. Like I said, even some growth in some areas too. So it's good and it's encouraging, but like I said, we need several months of consistency to really try and start to draw any trends from it right now.
What do you think, Rick? Should we give him a break here and head out?
Yep. Just a quick reminder for folks, you can see the new line of generators at the open house displayed. Cummins has at the Hall of Fame, I'm assuming. If not there, then perhaps maybe on one of your unplugged tour stops.
We'll be at the Hershey show, and we'll be actually visiting dealers in the Pennsylvania area starting next week, as a matter of fact. So absolutely.
Very good.
Where are you located at the open house? Your displays?
Right outside the entrance to the Supplier building, right there.
Okay.
So right where the golf carts drop you off, we're basically right there. You're going to step off into our booth, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah. Karl, thank you very much.
Thank you both. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
All right. See you all.